Greetings, cider lovers. We are in the basement of Pottstown Borough Councilman Ryan Procsal on Walnut Street. Lives here in the First Ward, and he's showing us all about the apple cider that he made here in this basement, or I suppose some of it was outside.
Yeah, it's either up or down. But
how's it taste?
Eventually, always goes down here. But
how do you like it?
Actually, this is 100% Gala apples this time. When usually it's a mix of Cortland and Red Delicious. So this is 100% pure. It didn't clear up as well as I had hoped it, but it it tastes good. And
how'd you get interested in doing this?
Well, it was a painting by Andrew Wyeth actually called the Cider Barrel. And it's like, you know what, that sounds really cool because the Weak Knee was right up the road. So that afternoon I went over and talked to him a little bit, and he gave me what I need to make it, and it's extremely easy to make.
So I've just checked with Councilman Procsal, and he says it's completely legal for him to be doing here in his basement what he's doing. There will be no prohibition agents or anything coming to visit.
Hopefully the ATF will not come to my door, yes.
So how much are you allowed to make, and it's based on family size?
Yes, a family of 2 adults are allowed to make 200,000 gallons of this stuff a year. I don't come quite that close, but
that is now. Did you buy that the system there that you?
Yeah,
have?
that was well, I got a the kit to make beer, which Josh will make cider as well, and then for Christmas, the Christmas after that, Athena got me this, which is although I'm not sure if American Keg makes this type of keg, but it would be nice if they did, because then I could keep it all right here in the borough. So.
And so, do you just put the apples in and do it, or what other work is involved?
Well, I could show you actually upstairs. I have the components. I could show you, step by step how it goes.
So we're back upstairs, and Mr. Procsal is going to show us how all this works. So I presume it starts with the apples. Where do you get your apples?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I get the cider from Bauman's. It's just actually only about 15 minutes north of here, and then I think it's like $4.75. I get a 25 cents off because I'm getting generally more than 10 gallons. More is usually about 20 or so, and then another 25 cents off for taking my own containers, like this one here. Usually I get about 3 of these, and they hold about 7 gallons apiece. That's a food grade fermentation bucket, usually used for beer or wine. And then,
so do you have to peel the skin and do all that stuff?
No. It's all nice and pressed for me, and I just pick it up and I transfer it into these containers, and I considered doing that, but that's
seemed a little too authentic.
Yeah, that would be a lot of work.
So what do you have to add to it, or you just put it in the bucket and hope for the best?
Well, at first, there's I guess the process of turning sugar into alcohol. You have sugar, and then the yeast will break down that sugar into alcohol and carbon dioxide. And there's yeast, like wild yeast, that grow on the skin themselves, but that could be kind of iffy. So I like to make sure I get exactly what I want in there.
So we start with a commercial product.
Well, yeah. First, you got to kill it all off. So you use something called potassium metabisulfate. This stuff. You need to put a couple of dashes in this, and there you stir all up, and you wait for 24 hours. You get a big old spoon like this. And then
and what is that killing?
That's killing all the wild yeast.
Okay.
That's in it. And then and afterwards, then it's ready to add the yeast that you want to put in there. I usually use a dry white wine, but you could spend considerable amount of money on all sorts of special yeast that come in test tubes and all sorts of things. But
right.
I've never noticed a difference.
But we went basic.
Yeah.
All right. So you put the yeast in. And then, do you wait? Do you have to turn it? What goes on?
Well, before I pitch the yeast, I put in something called a pectic enzyme, and that kind of helps break down the cell wall, and then it kind of clears it up. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it still tastes okay.
Yep.
And then I add the yeast. And what happens, and as it starts, the yeast start breaking down the sugar. Carbon dioxide is released, and then we have something. It's basically kind of like a check valve that goes on top, and it allows air to come up, the carbon dioxide as it builds pressure out without letting oxygen get in, and that could ruin it. So, if there wasn't some sort of a pressure release valve like this, it would explode, which would happen somewhat often in the old days.
That would be a mess in your basement.
Yeah, and a tragic loss of cider.
And then you let it go for a week, and then
Yeah,
you just
I mean, like as I show you down below, I usually force carbonate now because the tedious, it's very tedious bottling and all. And then basically, actually, there's one step I do. I take this as a kind of a siphoning pump where you put this in, and it'll start a siphon. That's how you they call it racking, where you basically taking the fluid from the top that's fairly clear, and then spilling it over into another bucket like this, and you're leaving some of the old yeast that could be thrown away down at the bottom, and then that kind of helps clear it up. But once that's done, then usually I just put it right into the keg, seal it up, turn it up, and then it's about ready to go about a week or so.
Procsal cider on the shelves in a couple of years would be a new business.
Oh, I don't know. I seem to go through it pretty quickly myself. So.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing with us.
Sure, of course. Anytime.